All right. Welcome everyone to the first DG tournament happening this year in 2022. I'll introduce myself. I'm Randy Sensei. I'm commentating this match along with my friend here.
What's up, guys? My name's Josh. You can call me J-Dads or J-Daddy Malink if you like the long version. We got a banger of a match to start out for our first tournament here, or our first tournament match here. Thunder against dav0spheer. Randy, talk to me a little bit about this matchup. We've got some good players in this tournament overall, and I think we're going to get that showcase here in the first match.
Yeah, absolutely. We got Thunder here. He's been speedrunning this game for a while. He's got a pretty good PB. Along with dav0spheer, who I believe is a pretty new runner. I've been seeing his PBs come up pretty often in the Discord here, and it's looking like he's going to be a force to be reckoned with upcoming. I think he said he was going to be doing some Instaclip or Void Warp strats. I think he said right beforehand.
I don't know if Davo was going to do that. I wanted to say Davo was not doing Void Warp
Okay.
for this tournament,
Okay.
at least. Yeah, from my understanding, Davo's pretty new to the category, and actually has a very respectable PB at this point, considering I think he's only been running it for about a month.
Yeah, just a little bit of time. Yeah.
Yeah, he's already shaved that PB down below sub 23, so we're looking at probably still some more involved strats to implement in Davo's runs. But ultimately, and we've talked about this before, this is a race setting. You're looking for consistency over speed a lot of times in these races, just because of how penalizing it can be to miss some of these big tricks in a race. The backups are not exactly the fastest thing you've ever seen, depending on what you're missing.
Yeah, we definitely see 2-minute, 3-minute time losses for some of them for sure. And something I just want to say really quick, I almost forgot to mention this. We also have rewards for these guys, so we have prizes coming. So for the first place reward, it's $100. I believe it's USD. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's USD. Second place is going to be getting $50, and third place will be getting 20. So we're gonna, and of course, you're gonna be getting the bragging rights too, which is, I think, better. But
Exactly, that's what I'm here
just me.
for.
Yeah, and like J Daddy was saying earlier, we're gonna see a really interesting match here. It looks like they just started.
Yep,
we just got started here, so we're in the intro cutscene.
Yep. So we got what I think it's 252 to kill here on the WVC intro cutscene on Japanese. Yeah. So
with the early games, do you know if this is this best of 3?
Yeah, this is best of 3. So we'll do this first race, and then whoever wins has one more game to win. Otherwise, the other person's got to win 2 in a row, and that'll decide our winner for the first round here.
Yeah.
And just for context too, this is there are 9 total entrants. So we have a play-in match right after this one to get into the round of 8. This is the first round of 8 match. But there's a play-in match right after this between Randy, who's actually casting with me here, and Lavoyel, who is going to be facing off against Randy in that match. I think that's scheduled for maybe about an hour and a half after this one, somewhere in there, right around 10 p.m. EST.
Yeah, it's gonna be a very cool tournament. I find that looking at everyone's PBs, there's actually like 3 or 4 or 5 people even that our PBs are very similar. They're very close to each other, so it's gonna be an extremely. I feel like the races are gonna be close. I have a really good feeling from previous races, what we've seen in previous tournaments. It always seems to come down to the last either run down the tower or the Ganon fight even can throw people off, and that's a pretty big time loss if you biff it at Ganon at the end too. So.
Oh yeah, you're redoing 2 splits plus watching some extra cutscenes, so it's definitely very penalizing if you're gonna be stuck fighting Ganon and then dying. So yeah, we're definitely looking for these runners to have as clean of races as possible. And again, the focus is not so much on how clean is your movement It's more on, can you execute the big tricks and avoid the pitfalls that come with, certain areas of the run that are gonna, cost you minutes of time loss if you do mess up.
Absolutely. And here it looks like dav0spheer, he got the he had the better mashing through the text boxes. He was ahead by, it looks like, a couple frames. Looks like a little bit of movement error there.
Yep, and that's
That's all
ultimately
good.
just going to be, that's where Thunder's experience is really going to shine through. I did just talk about how the movement doesn't really matter as much, but you'll see players like Thunder. We have several players that are, have been playing this category for a while, where their movement is going to propel them forward a few seconds here, a few seconds there, and that's going to build up over the course of the run, right? So it is something to watch out for, but ultimately, like I said earlier, those big mistakes are the key ones that we're going to have to keep our eyes out for.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be, you're going to see that, sorry, I'm just replying to something. You're going to see that, in this early game, you'll typically see the higher PB people, I believe, unless they make a major mistake, they'll usually get this early portion of the game pretty on point.
There's a good Rose Rock there from Thunder. Finish getting all those rupees. Got the bridge flip as well. Oh, Davo just a little bit off on the timing. Oh, that's not good for Davo. Unfortunately, so the way this platform works, Davo was going to go get the blue rupee that is on those floating platforms there. And that blue rupee is on a timer, and if you, for whatever reason, jump into the water after touching that first platform, the time it takes for you to get out of the water and get back on the middle platform to try to make the jump across to the final platform will cause that that blue rupee to disappear, basically. The timer will run out, and you have to reload the area in order to get it to show up again. So Davo has to go back, try getting that blue rupee up on top of the bridge there again. And
He did a good job. He got it there. I didn't get it the first try, but he did. He did certainly come back and get the bridge clip there the second round, which is good.
Yep. Thunder, meanwhile, in the Deku Tree cutscene, I did not see. Did Thunder have any other issues getting to the Deku Tree? I don't think so. It's just
I think he had a pretty good pretty good entrance there. That was not bad, and it looks like he got a really good running start there down the hill too.
Yeah, that's a 5:58 too entrance for Thunder. That's a solid time. Thunder's always been a player that doesn't have. He's not like in the 50, like the low 50, or I should say mid 50s on his entrances typically. But he can really get those like 57s, 58s very consistently. So it's good to see, him starting out strong and looking good in this first race.
Yeah, looks like Davo got a pretty decent entering. He didn't quite get too far down the hill, but he got a good boost.
Yep.
Oh, here we go with the Gim.
Yeah, this for any new watchers that we have that are watching this and wondering what's going on, Thunder's trying to execute a trick called Gim. And basically, just kind of a long story short, is we're going to fabricate a bottle out of doing some clipping out of bounds and picking up some nuts here from these, or from this Deku Baba over here that Thunder's about to kill. Looks like he's got it right now. Yeah, looks good.
That's an interesting way of killing that guy. I've never seen, and usually I see a jump slash.
Yeah,
but that was a
Thunder...
really. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think Thunder likes he tends to go for the two slashes. It's a little safer as long as you're angled correctly than to do the jump slash. You just have to make sure that your inputs are correct when you do that and your targeting is good. So
absolutely. I think the only thing that really scares me with doing the regular slashes is if you get hit by the Baba by accident. That would be detrimental because you have to do the whole thing from the beginning if you get hit at any point.
Yeah. Davo also on his way doing Gim here. Thunder did get his bottle, so he is complete with Gim. and gets the weeb jump.
Oh, nice. He gets the out of bounds for Davo. That's good. I think that's the right frame. Ooh, I think he's gonna end
Yeah,
up
I was gonna
out.
say his
Yeah.
angle looked a little bit off when he came through there. So he'll have to climb all the way back up and reset this up, as well as get some health, I believe.
Yeah. Let's see how Thunder does his scrubs here. Ooh, that's so scary. I know these guys are really used to the timing of these the timing of the scrub Deku bullets, but it's really scary to me. I don't do it this way because it's terrifying, and with my reaction timing, I will get hit. I will die there.
So you saw Davo is actually up there looking to grab more health, and as things go, when nothing's going right for you, right at the beginning, he did not get any hearts from the first 3 plants, which is terrible luck. So he had to wait for them to regrow and cut him down again. Looks like he's got a good angle on it this time, though.
Yep. Oh, nice. Okay, so he's good. You should be able to get it going forward.
Now
I wonder what
gotta
method
get
he uses.
the second part, and maybe you can speak to this more than.
Yeah. So right now, what he's doing is he's doing a return, or not return A. Sorry, he's doing he's looking up and diving at the same time, which changes like your camera. It does a weird thing with your camera, and what you would be doing is it makes Link like kind of move in the water. He can turn in the water, and he did get it here, which is awesome. So he turns in the water until there's a texture on the shield you'll aim for when you're turning. So in that way, you're aimed properly when you do your forward dive while holding your what is it? The target button, the L button or Z button. And by doing that, you grab onto the vines like Thunder did earlier. It's just a different setup that uses using pause buffering to make sure you're consistent. And once he climbs over, it is the same thing as Thunder that he did earlier to get the Deku Nut from the Deku Baba. But it's awesome he got it here, which is awesome that he got it second try. Looks like Thunder, he did get through the Goma portion okay, hey?
Yeah. Thunder had a good Goma. He did miss the West over to Thunder doing inverted camera backwalks. Shout out to Trip, who is not in this tournament, but was a very frequent user of that in some of our earlier races last year. We miss him not participating in this tournament, but we'll look forward to having him back in a future one for sure.
Yeah, that's a pretty swag move.
I did want to bring up Davo now on his way to Goma. He does have the bottle, like Randy had mentioned. Now it does show up as a compass when it's raised over Link's head, but it is in fact a bottle with blue potion. So he's just damaging down here so that he can get to the half heart he needs to do the next segment, which is fight Goma and do what's called a double KO, where he will kill Goma and kill himself on the same frame, so that way he doesn't have to watch the cutscene of Goma dying and gets to exit the room and respawn back at the top of the Deku Tree, where he can then leave and return to the Lost Woods and pick up some bugs.
So we're gonna see Thunder here doing Ganondorf. It's this is where things can go terribly wrong with this run.
Yes.
If you miss, do we know if Thunder saved? Did he save before?
I haven't been watching the whole time, so I don't know for sure.
So with this trick, if you get too late of going into the door to do the wrong warp, you will actually go into the cutscene after beating the Deku Tree, and at that point you have to reset the console. But he got it, so we're all good. I can go into a bit more depth when Davo eventually gets there. Looks like he got through the Goma phase pretty good.
Yep. Yeah, that was clutch from Thunder. That's probably the single biggest time waster in the run if you mess it up. Just because of when you hit that cutscene, you have to reset the console, and when you reset the console, if you'll spawn in one of two places depending on where you last saved. It'll either be in the Deku tree or it'll be in Link's house if you were anywhere else but the Deku tree. So depending on that, you have to either go back to Link's house if you respawn in the Deku tree and pause to fix the cutscene pointers so that you can get the wrong warp to work, or you need to pause while you know, right after you spawn back in Link's house, and then just head back over the Deku tree to retry.
Yeah, and we see Thunder here. He's on a pretty good pace.
Yeah,
According to Dan, it looks like it's going to be about either high 17 or low 18, assuming he gets this insta-clip here.
He got a test frame here, I believe, yep.
Oh, wow, there we go.
Oh, he missed the target on Zelda, though.
Oh, no.
Not a big deal, though. Thunder's very adept in situations like these, at, like, basically knowing when he's, when he should cut his losses, right? And he's just going to go straight to Void Warp attempts. These are basically two different ways of doing the same trick. This one that he's doing right now we call Void Warp. It was discovered, I believe, first. And the one that he tried up top was called Instaclip. And Instaclip is just basically a faster means of getting this this trick to work from the top of the tower instead of having to walk all the way down. And he did get it. Looks solid.
Get Void Warp. He's about to get a really good time.
Yeah, this is a really good, well put together run from Thunder. Just has to avoid any falling rocks here, because falling rocks will crash the game. Or sorry, the stationary rocks. Flaming stationary rocks.
Davo just missing the, I think his position was a little bit off, doing the side hop into B1 skip there.
Okay.
Looks like he's gonna do the,
I think he's
this method
late.
here. Ooh.
Yeah.
So we got Thunder doing the good old cutscene RNG right now.
Yep. And this trick that Davo is trying to do is deceptively difficult. You have one frame during this roll where you're looking to hold up, and it's, you can see Davo in his player cam is not happy with the fact that he's missing these pause buffers. But yeah, you have one frame basically to hold up during this roll so that Link will actually jump off of this platform. So you do this side hop into a neutral roll, and this is the frame that he's looking for to hold up, and he gets that kind of extended jump to grab the ledge. Then he can just jump down here and proceed with the rest of the run. And
I know what most of you in the chat might be thinking. If you've never seen, if you haven't watched the races before, you're thinking Thunder's got this. But
right.
I'll tell you to rethink again, because anything can happen in this tournament.
Yep.
All it takes right now is for Thunder to die to Ganon, and he's put at the top of the tower, I believe, right?
Yep. And he has to do collapse all over again. Exactly.
So if dav0spheer, if he gets Ganondorf here, he can actually still beat Thunder.
Yep.
If Thunder dies to Ganon.
He'd be right around tied. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be. This is where the run gets really crazy, and I'm excited to see how this goes.
And
so once we know,
yeah, execution-wise, Ganondorf or fighting Ganon is not. It's not a crazy hard split. It's famously quoted by many people, literally just ISG. You just have to get ISG twice. But if you miss ISG and you're a little slow, or you attempt to do it a second time from the same spot, Ganon will just one-shot you, and then you're dead. So, yeah, it's important that if you're on good pace in these runs, that if you miss ISG, you don't panic, and you create space, you roll in between Ganon's legs, so that if you need to do ISG a second time, you're not going to risk dying. That's ultimately what you have to do to kind of save yourself on this. Thunder with a good first phase, though.
So,
even got the back
yeah, really good first phase from Thunder. It looks like Davo just got Ganondorf, so Thunder just has to make it through this last phase here against Ganon, which I think arguably is the easier one, because you can get away from it.
Yeah.
But but I definitely think that Thunder's got this here, but we will see.
And Davo's actually on pretty good pace himself. He's still got. I don't know if it's quite PB pace because I don't think he does. I don't think he does Void Warp. We'll see here in a second.
If he does not do Void Warp, then for sure I don't think he is, but if he is able to do Void Warp and does it, and gets it right away, he will PB for sure. I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure what the timing is between now if you get Void Warp right away.
Oh,
he's going for the Void Warp, okay.
I respect it, okay.
This might...
Thunder. 18-20.
Nice.
That's a good run for Thunder. That's especially for the first race of the tournament. Thunder showing up big time.
Yeah, that's a really good run. He's only behind his PB by 44 seconds, and that's really solid in a tournament run.
Yeah. All right, so now we're focusing back on Davo here. So I guess we can kind of explain a little bit about how this works. I don't know if you want to take that, or I can take it too.
I'll give it to you. I'm still not in the Void Warp.
Sure, yeah.
Posse yet.
So essentially the way this works is it's kind of a two-part trick. The first part of it is getting a Hess off of this rock, or this rock, I should say, any of these falling rocks. And all a Hess is just getting basically massive amounts of backward momentum by shielding and holding ESS position at the time when, or at a specific frame when the rock would kind of collide with your shield. And it'll just basically send you straight backwards. And we're going to use that backwards momentum to execute the second part of the trick, which is just setting up a specific angle from which you can then clip out of the fence and fall into both the void and a loading zone at the same time. But we don't really need to talk about that anymore because Davo has decided to bail on Void Warp. Again, probably for the best. If it's a trick that you're not overly comfortable with, it's a little hard to kind of feel out in a race. It's not a trick you're going to get lucky with, in other words. So it's probably for the best that he's just going to run down the tower here. He is going to have to fight Stalfos, though. So those guys can obviously be very scary. We'll see how that goes. And obviously, don't want to walk into any falling rocks, or, sorry, I keep saying falling rocks, stationary rocks. If you have Zelda on screen, and you walk into a stationary burning rock as Child Link, you will crash the game, so don't want to do that. That is a very quick way to kill your race, especially if you haven't regularly been saving.
This can be a run killer as well.
Okay,
He died to the Stalfos. Yeah. Nice, that's good. You should be pretty safe.
Yeah, and I really like what Davo did there.
Good.
He pulled the Stalfos like away from the middle area, which is like, oh no. That's tragic, actually. He got jump slashed by the Stalfos, which does 2 hearts of damage, and he had only 2 hearts. So he's gonna have to run down the tower again. He is back at full HP, but if he takes another rock, then he'll be back in that jump slash range for the Stalfos again, so try to be careful with that.
And this definitely shows too that anything can happen in these tournaments.
Yeah.
You know, Stalfos is usually, it's a pretty hard part of the run, but it's nothing compared to like trying to get Void Warp or Instaclip for sure, and Ganondorf, but it definitely does waste a bit of time when it does happen.
Yeah, and Davo was looking like he was going to give Void Warp there another shot. There is a minor difference that he would have had to have taken into account had he actually gotten the clip. Given that he did die, and that's just based off of the fact that because he died, his positioning when he hits the void is going to be different than if he had done the trick successfully before dying. Dying changes your spawn point at the top of the tower, which ultimately affects where you end up in the void when you hit that loading zone in the void at the same time. So you have to kind of change the angle at which you drop down the tower a little bit in order to make sure that you end up in the unloaded kind of corridor staircase area, which is where you need to be in order to actually escape the tower.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's see if he gets the ISG. Got it. Oh, he's got some good. Ooh, I hope he doesn't get sniped again.
Yeah, it's really important that once you, if you're new to this category and you're doing Stalfos, once you get ISG, just make sure that you're always pressuring the Stalfos. If you move away from them, I find they tend to jump slash you more, just because they have distance to close. So if you're constantly like running into them, even if they step back, you're just going to be right next to them again and hitting them again, and kind of, it's almost like a stun lock, if you will. I don't think it's necessarily coded in that way, but it's definitely a safer way to go, is to just play aggressive.
Absolutely, with those guys, and they usually like just kind of stand there if you're running at them. They don't really do anything.
Yeah. This is the staircase that you land in after Void Warp or after a successful insta-clip. It's completely unloaded, so you don't actually see the staircase or anything, but that gate that Zelda just raised up is actually still in place if you manage to land in the room with the Stalfos in them. So if you do Void Warp and you land in there, then you know you're out of luck. You're not going to be able to cross that gate because Zelda's not down there.
Yeah, I thought he hit a rock there for a second on the ground. I was like, oh no, why did his shield burn? Oh man, okay, so now we got the Ganon fight.
Yep.
It'll be interesting to see this. I haven't watched any of Davos's runs yet, so this is pretty good.
Yeah, this is a solid first race from Davo. You always have to wonder too, like, especially for the players that are newer to the category, how much of, like, how comfortable are they with both the primary strats and the backups? Obviously, the veterans that have been running the category for a long time, you know, they're going to have that knowledge on, you know, what to do when. But it's very easy when things aren't going right in a given split or a given couple splits to panic and you know, try to force something or try to do something that you're not super used to. But Davo's been pretty cool and collected with his approach to this run so far, which is great to see.
And to go off what Dan said, the Stalfos AI is really, really good. I think it's, for the game of this age, I think that AI is pretty solid for the first like ever 3D combat area, because like I'm pretty sure OOT was one of the first like 3D like adventure games. I'm pretty sure, right?
I'm almost positive it was the first 3D Zelda game.
Yeah, it
I
definitely
don't know
was
about like other games around that time, because I'm sure there were other titles, but it was, I mean, it's a 1998 release, so yeah,
it came out close to the release of the N64, I think, right? I'm not too sure on that.
I want to say the N64 is 96.
Oh, so it was a few years. Okay.
I can double check that. Yeah, it's 1996, September 29th.
Oh, I guess SM64 it would be like, but I mean like combat oriented, I guess is the way I should put it. But
yeah,
I just think it's interesting how well certain enemies act in this game. You know, they're made in such a way that you can kind of figure out how to beat them, especially those pesky dark nuts.
Yeah.
Those guys I remember as a kid were like terrifying.
That's one of the nice things too about this game is the AI it's complex enough to be interesting, especially you know, for people like us who kind of grew up with the game and, you know, we hadn't seen anything like this before. But it's also got its complexities, right? There's definitely strategies, and this is a very good example of it. Davo's killing this Ganon fight so far. He's doing very well.
Yeah, he's doing really good. Got the ISG right away. He did the safety move to run a little bit away from Ganon so he can't insta-kill you.
And I like what he did there too. There's kind of two ways of doing this second phase. You can either jump slash his head as a means of like getting a hit before Ganon stands up again. Oh, he's a little
scary. He's a little close there.
Scary.
Oh man.
Excellent.
Nice. Let's go. Let's
Davo's
go,
gonna finish
Davo.
up.
That was
Good
a great
job
run.
on that first race there, Davo. But yeah, that was a really good race, really good first race. Thunder coming out of the gates, really swinging, kind of throwing his weight around, you know, showing the world who they have to mess with. I'm excited to see how this next race goes.
Yeah, sub 19 in general is really good in the tournaments to see. That is a really good time.
All right.
So I think we're gonna be pulling in these guys. Do interviews, or are we gonna wait until after?
Got him in here already. Looks like they're muted, but
Yeah,